Hey, I'm Andrew Hales. Welcome to another edition of Chatting With. Today I'm here with Timothy.
Hey, how's it going?
Sykes.
Yeah.
Psyched you're here.
Thanks.
You hit me up on Instagram. You wanted to call out some BS or something?
Yeah. There's a lot of BS. I trade stocks, and there's a lot of people where, if you look into industry stats, 90% of traders lose money. Do you know this?
I've heard it.
Right?
Yeah.
And people who sell stuff, they're like, oh, I'll teach you to get rich. And
Yeah.
they're usually just full of crap.
Okay.
So I got into this industry. First of all, I actually did make a lot of money. I started my bar mitzvah money. I turned $12,000, now into $5 million.
Well, stop. You already sound like all
No.
the rest.
I need to qualify. So
Okay.
I did it on my own. And then I was like, wait a minute. I was on this reality TV show, Wall Street Warriors, drunk in every episode, looked like an idiot, but I was more entertaining than the other people.
What year was that?
This was 2006, 2007.
Wow. Okay.
It was a while ago. I'm old now. But literally I had already, made a few $1 million, and people started messaging me like, how can I do this? So I was running a hedge fund. I sucked at it. I was not very good. I had a few $1 million under management. My strategy is for small accounts. I'm much better at turning a few $1,000s into 6 or 7 figures. I can't turn 7 figures into 8 figures or 8 figures into billions of dollars. That's not my strategy. So I had this kind of weird realization that when my TV show was a hit, let me get into teaching. Let me get into this snake oil business that everyone hates because I knew what I did was real, even though it's not scalable. That's what you have to understand.
Scalable. What's
scalability.
that? Yeah.
So I can turn, 12,000 into 5 million. That's freaking awesome. But I can't turn 5 million into 50 million. I can't do it. My strategy doesn't work like that. Yeah. So there's limits to my strategy.
Why wouldn't the same strategy work for?
So I trade small cap stocks, penny stocks, like Wolf of Wall Street type schemes. Just like Steven, just like I taught him, right? So this is what we trade, and there's just limited amounts of money that can be made from that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most people don't even trade penny stocks. Most people just invest. They think that they're like lotto tickets, like, oh, let me invest in this company. They just found gold in Peru, or they just found the, next cancer discovery.
Yeah.
And then it's all BS. So a lot of the money that I made is from short selling. You can bet against these scams. But then you can also ride them up for a little bit if they're not necessarily scams, but if they have good news. Sometimes these companies actually do make it every now and then. When people short sell, they basically take a negative position. This is what freaks people out. Instead of buying 1,000 shares, you buy negative 1,000 shares. So if the stock price drops, let's say $2 a share, negative $2 a share times negative 1,000 equals a profit of $2,000 for you. But there's so many shorts in the game, thanks to my teachings, thanks to Steven's teachings, thanks to so many people who have made a lot of money short selling, that's a crowded space.
Okay.
So now these penny stocks are spiking more. Even though eventually they will fail, you can't predict how high they'll go. And that's very dangerous. So short selling, you can actually lose more than you put in. If you buy a stock at $3 and it goes down to 0, you lost $3 a share. But what if you're betting against the stock at $3 and it goes up to $9? Now you've lost $6 a share, and you only put in $3 a share, so you lost double your investment.
Okay.
And that doesn't just go away. That actually goes to creditors. You can be in debt to your broker. So that's what's so dangerous about short selling. And you got to go into the nuances. You got to go into the subtleties here, because everyone just thinks about the upside, oh, I want to make 6 figures, I want to make 7 figures. What is the risk? Okay? You can lose more than you put in. That's a big risk.
If someone was sitting right next to you and they just copied every move you did, and wouldn't they just make the same amount of money?
Maybe, but some of these stocks move very fast. So there's a thing called slippage, where literally, even if you look at it, I mean, if I actually did it, you could probably get it within milliseconds, but it's not about that. My top student has made $8 million. He's made more than me.
Yeah.
I can't even trade as well as he does, because he actually has more patience. So for me, I take smaller profits. I'm impatient. I'm Jewish. I'm greedy. I want to get my money real quick. My top student, Tim Grattani, he literally turns off his profit and loss picture on his software, so that he doesn't even care about whether he's up or down. He's trying to trade the chart, and he's trying to give the chart maximum amount of time to play out.
Okay, but theoretically, just
theoretically,
all
yes.
things aside, yes, I'll just copy
But
every move. I know you don't want to do that, but if I just
you could do that.
And people, you got these live feeds with all these guys. If you just simply just copy,
but here's what
they're consistently
but this
profitable.
Is specifically, so there's software where you can literally copy trades. But I don't want to do that. I teach a process. So I write a paragraph. Why am I doing this? Why am I out of this? Right. And when I'm trading, I do a video lesson. I do a watch list. I do commentary before. I say, if this stock is going to hit this level, I'm going to look to dip buy because that should be support. Right. I want to teach the process. So like I have several students who have made millions of dollars, but they're all self-sufficient. And as you've seen, some of my students don't even respect me. They don't even like me anymore. They don't like my marketing. They don't like how much I talk. That's fine. If they make a lot of money, if they become self-sufficient, I'm happy I've done my job.
They don't like you anymore.
Correct. Some of my top students don't like me.
Why?
Why is that? It's crazy. You know, I'm kind of like a drill sergeant. Not even my top students. Some of my lower students don't like me. I'm drilling rules in at all times. I'm like, cut losses quickly, you fucking idiot. Like I go hard because I want them to stay disciplined. Okay. It's a very slippery slope. Basically what I'm doing is teaching structured gambling with a plan, with discipline. If you have no plan, if you have no discipline, you'll join the 90% of people who lose, and then you'll probably be like, you know, all the snake oil people who are just selling BS, like, and they think it's about the actual company finding gold or cancer treatment, when in fact, basically I'm trading assets that are moving up and down, and I'm just looking at the price. Like I don't even care if they're a gold company, if they're an internet company. I'm in the stock for the price action, okay? So a lot of companies put out these press releases, look, we did all this amazing stuff. But if you actually look at their SEC filings, they're 50, 60, 70 pages long. No one wants to do that. You look at what they're putting out legally, it's very different than the hyped up press releases. So there's an informational inefficiency. And this is why I just expect all stocks to fail. I expect the worst out of every company, and that way I'm never disappointed. It's a cynical way to look at things, but it's very realistic. So for me, even if the company's going to fail 2 years from now, 5 years from now, I don't care. I'm in the stock for the price action. If it's in play for a day, 2 days, I'm trading it because the price action is very predictable. This is the beautiful thing. This is why I talk about snake oil salesmen, and I talk about how many idiots are in this niche, because you know, it's true. Like, you know, the saying, like, there's a sucker born every minute, right?
Yeah,
like, they trade a lot of penny stocks. They trade binary options. They trade Forex. They trade cryptocurrency. They just want fast cash. And they all think the same. So if you actually are meticulous, you can take advantage of these idiots, these lemmings, you know? It's basic psychology.
Well, if it's all the same formulas, same principles, same tips, then how are they different from you, or like how are they any like snake oil?
So for me, it's not an exact science. So this is like, if I was a math teacher, 5 + 7 always equals 12, right? It's mathematics, it's exact. In the penny stock world and in the stock market, sometimes the worst fundamentally flawed company can become the best performing stock, right? DRYS is an example. It went from 5 to 120 in a few days, $5 a share to 120, and they were near bankruptcy. Why would they do that? Because there was a short squeeze, because it was a hot sector, because there was, you know, a supply and demand. The whole market is supply and demand.
Because there was a push?
Yeah, there was so much demand and not enough supply. So when there's like 5,000 people who want to buy the stock and only like 6 people who want to sell the stock, the price has to rise. Then maybe 20 people want to sell. But there's still 5,000 people trying to bang in the door, trying to get into the company. So it's supply and demand. And so for me, I'm teaching 20 years of experience. I've been doing this since high school. And this is the beauty of why I'm so proud of what I teach. I have 6,000 video lessons, 8,000 blog posts. This is why a lot of people don't like me, because I talk so much. I have so many lessons, and people are like, I don't have time for all that. But for me, I'm basically a glorified history teacher.
I like that you talk a lot. It makes my job easier.
Well, that's it. Like, I want to over-explain everything because there are nuances and subtleties.
Yeah.
And if you ignore that, if you say, oh, it's so easy, look, I'll just copy this trader, I'll just short every stock, you lose. You risk losing. And these stocks,
how do you risk losing?
Because these stocks
if it's the same moves.
Because these stocks can move so much faster than you're prepared to cut losses. So like rule number 1 for me is cut losses quickly. I'm wrong a third of the time. I don't give a fuck how much experience. Can I swear in your program?
Yeah.
All right? some people, it's like family entertainment. I'm sorry. I swear.
You're fine.
Sometimes I'm just wrong. And so rule number 1 is I cut losses quickly. So I have lots of 1, 2, 3, 4% losses. If you say, oh, it's just copying trading, it's not that easy. Some people don't want to lose $500. You put in time and effort. You put in your money. You think that you're right. Why should the market take $500 from you? That feels like crap. But sometimes losing $500 is the best lesson possible, because you could have lost $5,000 if you don't cut losses quick enough.
Right.
These penny stocks move so fast, and cryptocurrency moves fast, and binary options are a fucking scam. Like, it's such a tough world if you don't have discipline. It's basically a battlefield. This is why I say I'm a drill sergeant, and I'm basically trying to train my little, infantry team and get them ready for battle. If they don't pay attention to the rules, they get blown up and they get destroyed.
How many students have you had?
Tens of thousands, but only a few hundred of them really even watch all of the video lessons and DVDs and webinars.
Wow.
Because I have literally I have about 4,000 hours of content.
Yeah,
so very few people want to do that.
Content people can buy as a course.
Yeah.
How much is the course?
So we have different courses, 50 a month or 75 a month, now 150 a month or a few $100s a month. So you choose your dedication level. But for me, like I said, I'm a glorified history teacher. So you see video lessons of like shipping stocks, Chinese stocks, gold stocks, different sectors heat up. Ebola was really hot. Remember Ebola?
Yeah.
It's going to wipe out the world. Then we realized Aaron Hernandez actually killed more people than like Ebola did in the US. Like it was very overblown by the media. But the Ebola stocks surged. There was a company, it was hilarious. They made biohazard suits. Remember those biohazard suits?
Yeah.
They pitched and like they were promoted that everyone in the world was going to have to wear a biohazard suit. That's the future. So this biohazard suit, literally sleepy company that makes fucking biohazard suits, went from like 5 to like 30 in a few weeks. There are these cases throughout history of just madness. There's actually a great book. You should read it. I'm going to send you this book. It's from the 1700s. It's called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds.
Okay.
Not an easy title, not an easy book to read. But in the 1700s, 1800s, you had these big bubbles with like the South Sea Company and stuff like that. So this is what I look for again and again and again, whether it's a small penny stock being promoted by like a Wolf of Wall Street type character or Ebola or China or, some world event, after 9/11, security stocks spiked. I underestimated that. I was trading. I knew that like security would be a hot topic, but literally security stocks spiked for like 3 years after 9/11. And like, big companies like Level 3, I mean, it was just huge.
What's the most you've made in a day?
About $215,000.
What most you've lost in a day?
So it was the day before I lost $180,000. That was a terrible way to make $30,000-$40,000. So no, but this is a good example. So this is a mania. This was in the Asian tsunami of 2004. Remember that in Thailand? There was a movie called The Impossible.
Right.
That was a good movie that came out. Literally, there's a company called Taylor Devices, TAYD. They make earthquake absorption equipment. And so the rumor that was spreading online was that all these Asian countries were going to need to now brace all of their buildings for earthquakes and tsunamis. So the stock went from 1 to 6. And I was like, this company is near bankruptcy. Even if they got contracts, they don't have the money to make all this stuff. Like, this is ridiculous. It's going to crash. I was early. It kept going up. I was short selling it. So I cut my losses. I lost basically $180,000 in the 8s because I bet like $600,000. And I was like, I'm such an idiot. But the next day it started kind of like peaking at 9. And I was like, you know what? This is bullshit. Like, this is going to crash. So I made back my money. I got out. It was a terrible way to make a lot of money. Yeah. Terrible way. And then 3 days later it was down to 3. So I could have made like 500,000. Like, that's the thing. I'm basically trying to find this mountain, this little arc. And sometimes it lasts 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, a week, whatever. It's like the LAHWF curve.
That arc, that curve.
Yeah, like the pump and then the dump.
But no one can really know.
Correct. And this is the thing. This is why I don't short sell much anymore. Okay. This is what's so dangerous. This is why I wanted to call out the BS, because now, again, everyone just says, oh, these companies are terrible. They're all going to go to zero. So let me just short sell. Short selling involves finding a borrow from a broker. So you actually have to call up your broker or chat with them and find a borrow. Like normally, if you want to invest in a stock, you just buy 1,000 shares. Right. There's usually always a seller. But when you're shorting, you actually have to borrow. So the broker charges borrow fees, right? So a lot of short sellers, they don't talk about the borrow fees. Also, when the stock is like kind of like cresting at the top, like everybody wants to short it, but there's no shares to short. So oftentimes, you have to actually short a little early if you think, let's say it's going to crash the next day or 2 days, but there's shares to short available now. When it's the perfect time to short, there's not going to be any. So you have to actually risk a little pain. And the problem is you don't know how much pain to risk. There's a thing called boxing, which I've never tried, but if you have 2 accounts, you can short the shares in one account and then go long in the other. So technically you're flat. So if the stock keeps going up, you're protected on your short. So if you box a stock properly, you, let's say, short it at 8 and you also buy it at 8. But you think it's going to keep going, right? So let's say it goes to like 12. Then you sell those shares that you have in one account that you're long at, and then you keep the shares that you're short, and then theoretically, if it drops from 12 to 6, you make 8 to 12 on the way up, and then 12 to 6 on the way down. I've never been able to box properly. Long story short, you can't predict the top on these stocks. And this is the horror that I get after DM, because most of my top students do short sell penny stocks. But again, because it's gotten so crowded, it's a terribly risky strategy. And newbies are not ready to cut losses quickly. They're not ready for borrow fees. They're not ready for battle. And this is what's so scary. This is why I get so frustrated. And thank you for answering my DM.
What's the bulk of your income come from?
I mean, teaching. Like, this is why I actually donate all of my trading profits to charity. This is why I'm dressed like this. Like,
Save the Reef.
Yeah, Save the Reef in Karmagawa. And on the back, I actually pray for Amazonia, which is trending right now. We're trying to save the Brazilian rainforest.
Saw that.
Crazy how much is Brazilian rainforest. They're literally burning double what it was last year. Wow. And this is like the lungs of the planet. So I'm trying to do that. So this is why I donate all my trading profits. A lot of chat rooms where like they trade big and they post big screenshots. So this is the BS that I like to call out, because they're like, look, I made $50,000, but you used like $700,000 in your account to make that. Most people with a small account, they can't make that kind of money.
Okay.
Also, a lot of chat rooms use their subscribers. They say, buy this stock. The whole chat room buys the stock. They say, I'll sell this stock. It's like follow the leader.
Right.
So the person who is the leader makes all the money. And then the subscribers don't. And that's why I don't like copying trades. I don't like following picks. For me, it's about the process. Okay. None of my top students need me anymore. I'm just like training wheels. It's all about teaching the process, not hot picks.
Well, so you've made it now. You're good. No more. You don't have to work anymore.
Correct. I just love it. This is what I want everyone to do, to be able to find a job that they love. I never thought that I would be like loving teaching. Like what? Yeah. Right? Like when I grew up in Orange, Connecticut, small town. I dreamt of like, luxuries, like taking care of my family, expensive cars. I took care of my family. I told you, I bought my parents a place in Miami Beach. That's my best purchase. I had the luxury cars. They're boring as fuck. Now I'm into charity. So you kind of evolve over time.
Right. Yeah. Do you feel like everyone pretty much just after the money's no longer a thing, they kind of evolve towards philanthropy?
I wish that was the case. Most don't. Like the only thing hated worse that I found than penny stocks is philanthropy, because there's so many people who use charity like, look at me, look how good I look, or it's like some kind of sketchy tax shelter. Like I just actually want to give back. Like there's a number 54 on the back here. We've built 54 schools so far with my charity foundation. The goal is to build 1,000. So for me, I want to do good, and I just want to follow my dreams. And that's kind of like a crazy thing. Just like where when I got into teaching penny stocks, everyone's like, you're leaving the hedge fund world to be a teacher? Like, why? I don't give a fuck what other people think. I'm just trying different stuff, because when you know something to be real, you want it to like get out there in the world. And now, as you know, with social media, it just amplifies anything you say, 50-fold.
Save the Reef. How long have you been doing that?
We just started this 6 months ago. We have 500,000 followers so far on Instagram. We did the documentary. So now what I do with charity is not just about donating money, it's also bringing exposure. So we partner with different videographers, photographers. We make videos. We made the whole, this was turned out to be a 50-minute documentary. We did 7 countries over 6 months, showing the reef, good and bad, different charities working on different things. This is from
global warming?
Yeah, global warming. And also, but even just basic stuff like global warming, we're not going to fix that anytime soon. But did you know that suntan lotion kills reefs?
Oh.
Right? So if you actually use suntan lotion with like oxybenzonone and there's different chemicals, it kills the reef. And we actually got the scientists, was devastating. If there's one drop of a bad chemical in a water size, the equivalent of 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools, that hurts the reefs. Wow. One drop of chemical. And if you picture 500 tourists with, suntan lotion all over the place, and the coral has no chance.
I've also heard suntan lotion gives you cancer.
So that's another thing. You're absorbing those chemicals. So if it's killing coral reefs, it's probably not that great. Yeah. Hawaii put in a ban for these chemicals in 2021, but it's not soon enough. Already roughly a third of the world's coral reefs have died. In itself is not the end of the world, but coral reefs actually account for 25% of marine life. If marine life dies, actually 64% of the Earth's oxygen is created by marine life. It's not just trees, it's also underwater trees. So we get into this. This is another inefficiency where people don't know about the suntan lotion.
Yeah.
No one talks about this. I didn't even know when I first began. I just partnered with this guy. His name is Amir Zakari. I was like, what are you interested in? This was our second documentary. We did one on saving the rhino too down in South Africa, which is just a whole
Where can you find these documentaries?
They're all on YouTube. We just put them on YouTube.
On Timothy Sykes?
No, it's Karmagawa.
Yeah,
it's with the charity, but also like the creators, Amir Zakari. But the Save the Reef one has 3 million views in like 3 months, which is really good for like an environmental documentary. Yeah. And then the rhino one has like 1 million views, but it went viral on Instagram. It has 30 million views. So it's just getting people aware. Like, do you know about the rhinos? Do you know why they're dying?
No.
This is
I would guess poachers.
Poachers, but why are rhino horns so in demand?
The ivory, I don't know.
No, so that's elephants. So literally rhino horns, they're made out of keratin, the same stuff in our fingernails. There's no medicinal purposes. There's nothing in them. It's just ceremonial bullshit, right?
Whoa.
So this is what's happening in Asia right now. When there's an elder like on their deathbed, families purchase a rhino horn, and the more money they spend on the rhino horn and they give to the elder, theoretically, the more they love that elder. So if the elder is on their deathbed and they get like a $500,000 rhino horn, they're like, I've done well. And then they bury the elder with a rhino horn. And the worst part, rhino horns grow back because they literally are like fingernails. Yeah. So there's a way, like in this documentary, we actually shave off the rhino horn. You could do it in a way that doesn't hurt the rhino, just like cutting our fingernails. But poachers don't want that. Poachers literally want every last piece of the rhino horn. So they dig into the skull, they dig into it, they basically kill the rhino. Sometimes they leave them half alive, just bleeding to death. It's like really sad. Okay. But the worst part is that it's for the wrong reasons. Right. There's no medicinal purposes. And there's all these Asian myths and old wives' tales like, oh, it's going to cure cancer. Oh, it's going to be natural Viagra. Like, let me take some. And it's just fucking keratin. And that's what pisses me off. And people don't know that. So whether it's penny stocks or rhinos or reefs, these informational inefficiencies, I think that they can be fixed or at least helped with social media. I think social media has a lot of potential. Yeah. We don't necessarily use it the right way. I think the world has been like Kardashianized, like where it's like, oh, what's my hair? Let me get the right selfie angle. I feel like social media is the beginnings of it. It's kind of like cavemen like writing on walls, like, ooh, look, I write. Yeah. No different than like us writing on our little screens. In the next 5, 10, 20 years, I'm excited to see what happens.
All right. So that's your plan for the next 5, 10, 20 years.
Just more documentaries, more money. My best-selling DVD. This is how much people hate me. You're going to get a kick out of this. Okay. So my best-selling DVD, it's called How to Make Millions. Very cliche title, but that's basically what it is. It's 35 hours long. I just talked about everything. Mm-hmm. But people didn't want to buy this, right? People are like, no, I'm not paying you for education. I'm like, all right, let me put a DVD up for free on YouTube. And they're like, no, I'm not going to watch. I mean, they liked it. Some people do, but most people don't because it's free on YouTube, so they don't value it. Right? So I'm like, all right, let me get this straight. You're not going to pay for it. You don't want to watch it for free. How the fuck do I get you to study this? So I came up with this plan. This is what started my charity. This is what's so funny. HowToMakeMillions.com. All the money goes to charity. So you're paying $297, right, for a 35-hour guide. It's a good price, and all of the $297 goes to charity. So I don't get the money. It's not free. You're financially invested in it, so you take it seriously. It's become my best-selling DVD. That one DVD has raised over $3 million. Wow. That's how much people hate me. So I'm used to the hate because, again, there's so many fakers. Yeah, no,
it's a tacky title.
Well, but it's not even that. It's a real fucking title. This is what I did. This is what it teaches. It's not, they don't hate me because of the title, Yeah. I'm also the Lambo guy. Like, people found me from like the Lambo. Like, Steven found me because he liked my Lamborghini on Instagram, right? Like, I show off my fucking Lamborghini. People are like, I want a Lamborghini. Let me study. I actually did a test one time. I did a 45-minute intricate video lesson on this stock. I was like reviewing its balance sheet. I'm like, here's all the conflicts. Here's all the red flags. And I spent literally an all-nighter researching it and making it. And I was like, 45 minutes, this is gonna be great, let's do it. Yeah. And like 5 people were like, good job, amazing content. And I was just like, why do I do this? So, but then I was like, all right, let me try this. This was right when I first got my first Lamborghini, this bright orange Lamborghini, piece of shit, douchebag Miami Lamborghini, right? All in your face. So let me put like a little 30-second kind of trailer, like watch videos like this, study finance, and then eventually you can have a Lamborghini. And I put this like kind of like the carrot, literally, because it's orange at the beginning of it. And I was like, okay, now it's a 45-minute and 30-second video with the Lamborghini in the beginning, but now you have some visual motivation to actually study it. 4 times as many people watched it. I did an A/B test. Yeah. And the engagement, they watched it 3 times longer. Wow. All because it had a 30-second thing. So I like these visual motivators. So even if it brings hate, I don't care. I suck it up. I have thick skin, right? Sure. It doesn't really matter.
You got a family? You got a girlfriend?
No, I'm traveling all over the place. I was engaged to be married, but my travel schedule, we're literally building schools in so many different countries. I'm visiting them, like now Save the Reef, and we're working on some other documentaries for Earth Day. The 50-year anniversary is next year. So we have a whole documentary coming out on plastic. Okay. I'm actually flying up to Vancouver, showing the Save the Reef documentary, but also planning with a bunch of videographers for that, which is going to be next April. You're invited to the premiere if you want to come.
Sweet.
We did this premiere in Hawaii. We had like 40 influencers, and they helped get the word out. So it's not just videographers, it's also influencers.
It's going to to be in Hawaii?
I don't know where this one's going to be based. I'll let you know. But we're going to do a big premiere, and just get the word out about plastic. Plastic's scary, man.
Yeah, plastic.
And it's just getting worse every year. We don't even realize the consequences. Right. Did you see that study the other day? We eat the equivalent of a credit card's worth of plastic every week.
What?
With microplastics. So everywhere. There's tiny bits. But if you add it all up, right, we're having basically...
You mean like drinking out of cups?
Well, not this one, but if you have a plastic water bottle, or if it's just there's lots of little, plastic doesn't disintegrate, but it breaks down into tiny pieces. Yeah. So it's in the fish that we eat, it's in the water that we drink, it's everywhere. Man. And that's just going to get worse, and we don't realize it.
What do we do? I got a big Berkey, so that helps. That
helps. Every little bit helps, but it's just being aware of this. We need to consume less plastic. If you have some reusable bottle, if we really reduce plastic, we really just need to get people aware of this, because they don't think. They're just yeah, I know it's a problem, but just leave me alone. Let me live my life. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. They're just focused on that. So what if the planet dies 50 years from now? I'm trying to feed my family next week. And it's also not just America. A lot of it is in third world countries where they're just so living day to day.
Are you eating meat?
A little bit, but I've reduced a lot of it because I know that's a big problem too. But
Cows.
Also we just did a post. Literally, if you have these seaweed farmers, seaweed could actually help. There's different stats, different studies, but if we increase seaweed production and we eat more seaweed, that can really help a lot with the deforestation and stuff like that. So.
Wait, eat more seaweed?
Eat more seaweed. There's a whole video with this.
Oh, if we are growing it in the ocean,
if we're growing
that'll help.
Exactly,
okay,
and that helps. The ocean is amazing. The reefs, I'll give you one crazy thing. Reefs are so smart. They're dying too just because of hotter weather, but they can actually create their own clouds. I read this study the other day.
Wow.
So if it's too hot out, they sense it, and there's a whole scientific chemical reaction, but they basically create a little cloud cover over them.
Wow.
To try to protect themselves. And they can do that. The earth is amazing. We just need to give it a chance. We went to Belize for one of the countries for Save the Reef. They've banned offshore oil drilling. That was the best reef that we saw in 7 different countries.
Okay.
So little things like that. We're not going to, you can't ban oil drilling in the whole world, but little stuff like this. Greta Thunberg, have you seen her? The 16-year-old environmentalist? She's on the cover of GQ, Time Magazine. She's really good.
Yeah, I should get her on. Yeah.
You really should. She's just, if you can. she's meeting with Obama and
okay.
She's
chatting with an environmentalist.
Yeah, she's blown up. She's so well spoken though too.
All right.
And she makes a good case.
Sweet.
It's just about awareness. All of this is education and awareness. And you have that possibility now with your YouTube video.
Yeah, that's inspiring.
Stop interviewing douchebags, these narcissistic assholes. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
Right. Well, they make a lot of money.
I'm one of them. I know,
the videos for me.
Oh, that too.
They make a lot of money. So, do you have any just practical life advice that's nothing to do with stocks?
Yeah. I think that, I'm very fortunate to make a lot of money, and then now I'm able to focus on what I love. Traveling, charity, teaching. Not exactly what I expected when I was growing up, but I've evolved and you discover what you love. So I think everyone should focus on making a shitload of money so that they can get that freedom. Too many people are yeah, I would love to do that, Tim. I would love to do this, but they're just trying to make it. I think a lot of people are partaking in the wrong strategies. It doesn't matter how hard you work as an Uber driver or a personal trainer, you're getting paid hourly. You can't grow your income exponentially. This is the beauty of stock trading. This is the beauty even of what you do. You make one video, if it gets 900,000 views or 90 million views, you've done the same amount of work. Uber drivers, to go from $90,000 a year to $900,000, they'll have to work so much, or maybe get multiple drivers on their little Uber thing. Take advantage of exponential growth in social media. Social media is all about exponential growth. How fast can you grow? Right now, literally, we did a post on the Brazilian rainforest and the burning, right? It has 500,000 likes. I stepped off the plane. This is our biggest thing ever. 400,000 shares. 500,000 likes and 400,000 shares on the Brazilian rainforest.
How do we combat that? We just donate money and they send more firefighters?
Nothing's easy. No, so it's not even about the firefighters.
So what do we do? What are we doing?
So for me, social media, this is what's so crazy. So with the rhinos, we're trying to get the word out, don't cut off the rhino's horn. There's no medicinal purposes. You're trying to combat, just stupidity and ignorance. With the rainforest, it's complicated because a lot of it is the Brazilian government. The Brazilian government is not doing anything. They're letting it burn. right? Because they're trying to actually like punish the NGOs. It's a very complicated situation. But if theoretically, and this is my hope, and this is a lot of people's hope, if you get enough social media attention on it and it goes viral, then you get traditional media attention. And then the world's media is looking at Brazil. Politicians respect the world's media. If, like CNN, the New York Times, all these countries, all these different companies are writing like Brazil's government has to do something, they have to do something. They actually pay attention. So I think social media can lead to traditional media, which will influence politicians.
Sweet.
It's still not perfect. You know, the politicians, like there's rumors that like the president is like burning this as like a punishment. Then he says, no, it's the charities that are burning the land to make me look bad. Like it's a whole he said, she said.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the rainforests are dying.
You have such tremendous energy and passion.
Yeah.
And enthusiasm. How do I harness that?
You got to focus on what you love.
Yeah.
Like when you see the potential. So for me, you know, picture me, I've been teaching now 10 years. I didn't have any students in the beginning. Like when I said I was going to teach people penny stocks, everyone was like, no one can trade penny stocks. Like you're a scam. Like everything is a scam. Why are you doing this? And that made my blood boil. So like find something that makes your blood boil. Like when I first got started teaching, people said you couldn't short sell penny stocks because here's a little informational inefficiency. Because you have to borrow shares from your broker, right? A lot of brokers don't have shares to short a penny stock, so they just lie and they say, no, that's not possible. That's illegal. It's not illegal. Your broker just fucking sucks and they're making excuses for them sucking. So that made my blood boil. Every time I got an email, Tim Sykes, you're a criminal. You know, you're just short selling penny stocks. My broker says that's impossible. And I'm like, and I read a whole fucking blog post and I'm like, no, it's not impossible. Your broker fucking sucks. They're lying.
Yeah.
With social media, with education, with videos like this, you can get good, honest information out there quicker than ever before, right?
8,000 blog posts.
Yeah.
TimothySykes.com.
Yeah.
That's a blog post a day for
Roughly. In the beginning, I was testing too.
For a few years,
Yeah.
for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. But I also did like 5 blog posts a day, like when I was first
Okay.
beginning, because I didn't do videos. Now I've transferred more to videos. I have 1,000 free videos on my YouTube channel.
How many words?
There's different ones, 700, 1,000, 2,000. I'm prolific.
They're all on stock trading?
Yeah. Or
Wow.
money or finance or, you know, a few on charity. The charity ones perform the worst, but I still want to like teach people. The cool thing is we built 54 schools with my charity, with my money basically, and some money from the apparel sales, but also 17 schools have been built by my students who have seen it on social media. So by sharing it, you get other people involved and they're like, hey, that's a good idea. One of my students, actually a sad story, his wife died. He built a school in her honor, and then they found out at his company that he built the school, so the company matched it. And then I think that somebody else matched it when they found out. So one school became 4 schools.
Nice.
And these communities, this is the biggest thing. Like when you go to third world countries, have you been to third world countries?
I've been to Cape Town.
Yeah, I mean that,
and
that
Peru.
kind of counts. Yeah,
I
that
don't
counts.
know.
But
Yeah.
if you go to a lot of these villages, you know, I've been to 122 countries now. I've been very
Yeah.
fortunate to travel everywhere. You go to these villages, they have no education, they have no hope. All they can do is try to beg. That's their whole future. In Indonesia, where we have 16 schools now, there are schools there, but guess what they learn? They learn 3 things: how to count from 1 to 10, the days of the week, and the months of the year. That's it. That's schooling. And they say it over and over again in English. Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is so important?
Education's the foundation of society.
Yeah, but why do they only learn these 3 things?
Because English is the main language, and
Yeah.
I don't know why.
They learn these 3 things for tourists. They
Okay.
go up to tourists and they say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday. And the Balinese kids are so cute. And the tourists give them like $1, and that's a great day if they get $1. And they say, look at me, I can count 1, 2, 3. And the tourists are like, ooh, that's amazing. That's the majority of the third world. That's their income because they have no education. They have no potential. They have no internet. So for us, like the internet is a luxury. We take it for granted. You know, we like look through it like, what's Kylie Jenner wearing today? Like a lot of people just use it, I think, for the wrong reasons. I think as technology evolves and apps evolve and we realize the potential, we can do a lot of things with it.
Timothy Sykes, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about everything we've talked about here in the comments. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.